One day we're gonna break that thing.
Hi guys! Today Devin and I went book shopping, and pardon us if we're a little impatient with this video because we already recorded it twice and the second time the camera wasn't on.
Yeah. Can you tell we're new at this?
Anyway, we're not going to show you all of the books that we got because that would take way too long.
Yes.
So we each picked out a few select books that we wanted to tell you about and maybe a few books that we're looking forward to read in October. So let's just get into it.
The first book I will show you is called Loser by Jerry Spinelli. From what I can gather, it is about a boy named Donald Zinkoff, and it follows him from 1st grade to 6th grade, and apparently he's a little strange. He's a loser, according to the other kids in school, and he doesn't really notice at first that people think of him that way because he's in his own little world, and I think it's kind of just him growing up and realizing how other people perceive him and how he overcomes that.
And one of the books that I got today is actually a nonfiction book, and it's Beneath the Surface by Michael Phelps. He's actually a co-author of this book, and it's just a look inside of his life, his training, and I think that would be an interesting perspective because he's one of the greatest Olympians of all time. And so I have another book by him that's about him, so I'm actually interested to read this one that he has a say in it, and it's his voice.
The next book in my little pile of books is Hate List by Jennifer Brown, and this is about a boy named Nick who opens fire on his school cafeteria, and after all is said and done, they find out that the targets that he picks out are from a hate list that he and his girlfriend Valerie wrote. Valerie didn't realize he was going to use it to shoot up the school, and she actually puts herself in front of another student to save her life. And so this book is about her after the whole shooting and how she goes about school and repairs her life and everything.
The next couple books that I got are actually children's books. The first one is Super Fudge by Judy Blume, and it's one of my favorite books from my childhood, and the binding and this actually matches the books from my collection of other, children's books. So I was excited to find it at the used bookstore, and everybody knows about Super Fudge.
Yeah. And the next book that I got is called Because I Am Furniture by Talia Chaltis, and it's just about a girl named Anki, who lives with an abusive father, but he's not abusive to her, he's abusive to her sister and brother. To him, she is just a possession like furniture, and she blends into the background. And as she's going through school and makes the volleyball team and learning to speak up for herself, she hopes to be able to speak up for her siblings as well someday. So that's kind of like her journey with all of that.
And the other children's book that I got, sorry, I went from,
yeah,
child abuse to children's books. It's called The Last of the Really Great Wangdoodles, and it's by Julie Andrews Edwards. And it's the Julie Andrews, The Sound of Music, Mary Poppins.
Yes.
And she actually has a Julie Andrews collection. And I also have Mandy by her. So those are books that I've been looking forward to reading, and hopefully I'll get to the other books in her collection too, because it's like childhood.
It's Julie Andrews. How can you not? And the next book that I got was actually given to me by Robin, and that is Rot and Ruin by Jonathan Mayberry. The first time I heard this book was actually from Cameron from the Book and Movie Guy, and it just sounded really interesting. It's about a boy named Benny who lives in a world, obviously, with zombies, which is what the book is about, and you either work when you're 15 or you lose your food ration. So obviously he works, and he chooses to work with his older brother as a zombie slayer or zombie killer, and it's just him coming to terms with that profession, and it actually teaches him a lot about himself and the world he lives in. And I just want to show you this really cool cover. So it's just, oh look, no,
creepy.
It isn't. That's really creepy, and I really like it. So I'm hoping to get to this in October, maybe. So yes.
The next book that I got at the used bookstore I had never even heard of before, and it's We the Animals by Justin Torres. And it's a coming-of-age story about a kid with biracial parents, and in that, day and age, that's a tough thing to deal with. And it's about him and his family. It's kind of odd, and it's supposed to be a really dark book. And it sounds interesting. It has rave reviews all over the cover, the inside. And this is actually an advanced reader copy. I didn't realize that when I bought it. But it's something that I look forward to reading, definitely.
The next book I got was actually from Amazon, and I got it because I want to read it for October, and that is The Girl in the Park by Mariah Fredericks. And I'm just going to read you the back of it because this will give you a better idea of what it's about than what I can give you. So, honey, they found her in the park. They found her in the park. Playground, swings, kids, good. So they found her in a nice place, not a motel, which was kind of what I was expecting. Except they, not her mom, they found her. I shake my head because there's something weird about found. You find sweaters in the park or lost dogs. Found is like Wendy's not a person, not a living. My mom is crying. That tells me what found means, why Wendy isn't a person anymore, that Wendy is dead. So yeah, that sounds really creepy, and so I'm excited to read it. It sounds like it's going to be good, especially for October, around Halloween and all that, so yes.
Another book that I think will be good for October is the Vampire Chronicles collection by Anne Rice. I found this, it's a bind-up of the whole collection, so it's nice and convenient. And it's the original vampire story, so it's something that I'm excited about.
Yeah. And the next book I'm going to be talking about is Milkweed by Jerry Spinelli. So another Jerry Spinelli book, who wrote Stargirl, if you don't know. So he's written a lot of really good books, so I'm excited about this. From what I can gather, it is about a boy who lives in Nazi-occupied Warsaw, and he's an orphan who steals food for the other orphans, and he wants to be a Nazi because he sees how important they are and how shiny their boots are and all of that, until one day he sees Jews that were released off of a train from the ghetto, and he realizes that is not what he wants to be, and so it's just his story.
And another book that I got at the used bookstore is Little Bee by Chris Cleave, and I saw this book a while ago, and I've been wanting it for a long time, so for just a few bucks, that was exciting for me. I'm going to read the back of it because it's intentionally vague. It says, "We don't want to tell you what happens in this book. It's a truly special story and we don't want to spoil it. Nevertheless, you need to know enough to buy it, so we will just say this. The story is of two women. Their lives collide one fateful day and one of them has to make a terrible choice, a kind of choice we never hope you have to face. 2 years later, they meet again. The story starts here." Sounds
Dun, dun, dun.
just enough to grab you in, and now I need to know what happens.
Yes. And the next book I got is called Naomi and Eli's No Kiss List, or Naomi and Ellie's. We can't agree on which way to pronounce it, but whatever. And it is by Rachel Kahn and David Levithan, and they both wrote Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, which I haven't read, but I love the movie, so it should be good. And it's just basically about these two best friends and hardship that they go through with their friendship, because they've made this No Kiss List, which is a list of people neither of them can kiss, so there isn't any conflict, but one of them does kiss a person on this list, and so conflict develops, and that's where it kind of takes off, I think.
And the last book I got, it was actually in a banned book section of the used bookstore, and it's The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. And I read Middlesex, and I really liked it, and it's the same author. But this book, it was nothing like, I didn't even know what to expect. But let me read you the first sentence, and maybe you'll get what I'm talking about. On the morning the last Lisbon daughter took her turn at suicide, it was Mary this time, in sleeping pills, like Therese. The two paramedics arrived at the house, knowing exactly where the knife drawer was, and the gas oven, and the beam in the basement from which it was possible to tie a rope.
Yikes.
From what I can tell, it's about 5 sisters. Obviously, they all committed suicide, and they were never ever allowed to date except for one time in their life. And this book follows the aftermath of all of their deaths and the people that were affected by them. So I'm very excited to say the least about reading this.
And the last book I have to show you is a book that I did not buy because I would never spend money on it. But I won it off of Goodreads because I figured, what the hell, I'll go ahead and enter the giveaway. And that is Bared to You by Sylvia Day, which is kind of a 50 Shades of Grey-ish book. That's the book that it's definitely been compared to. So what I think I'm going to do is read the 50 Shades of Grey, or 50 Shades of Grey, and this, and then compare the writing and the story and all of that. So if that sounds interesting, let us know, because I'm planning on doing that, and this is not necessarily the kind of book that I normally read, so it'll be interesting to say the least. Okay, so that was just a snippet of the books that we purchased in the last few weeks, mostly today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We wish we could have done all of them, but you'd be sitting here looking at your computer screen for like a half an hour. So Yes.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Green Nook?
No. Sorry.
She has a Kindle.
Yeah.
Kendall?
You're on camera, or your voice is.
Hi everyone.